Hello. As a grant writer and as a person who's been a part of many committees evaluating grant applications, I would like to share with you 4 common grant writing mistakes and how you can avoid them. I'm Lauren Segedin and the co-founder of Stanadin. We are a company who provides community-oriented businesses with scalable resources that will help them successfully grow. We specialize in grant writing, strategic planning, and program and product implementation. As a grant writer and a grant application evaluator for a few local foundations and charities, I'm often asked, what are the common mistakes that grant writers make? Common mistakes when completing grant applications include not aligning your project from start to finish, having unclear project outcomes, inflating and misaligning budgets, and not answering the questions well. As the acceptance rate of grant applications are somewhere between 10% to 50%, avoiding these 4 common grant writing mistakes are key to increasing grant writing success. Grant applications typically become available for a short period of time, and it is often a scramble to plan and write a solid application. It is easy to lose sight of the details and submit an application that isn't aligned from start to finish. This is a typical mistake, not aligning your project from start to finish. To avoid this, I recommend brainstorming your project before you start writing. This takes a little time, but it's relatively easy to do. When you brainstorm your project, consider the following: your reason or your why for the project, who the project will directly impact, the project's intended result, and how you will measure your outcomes so you know that you've met them. You can jot down this information on a blank piece of paper or use the free downloadable template I created. To make this tool as user-friendly as possible, there's both a blank template and a completed example template. Follow the example I provide, and this may be helpful for you as you work through your own project idea. Taking the time to think through your project will ensure that your entire project aligns, from the reason that your project exists to your project's outcomes and its budget. When your project becomes clear and each piece relates to one another, it is both easy for you to write and easy for the reader to understand why your project should be funded. It is well worth the 30 to 60 minutes that it should take you. Another common mistake is having unclear project outcomes. When you plan your grant application, you need to consider how many people will be positively impacted by your project and how you will know that they are positively impacted. Essentially, project outcomes are a target you aim to reach with the funding you receive. This target should be expressed in numbers. For example, if your project aims to help 5 new startups to launch their business, then a grantor will know if your project was successful if 5 new businesses were launched with your support. Project outcomes is often a component of a grant application that is not answered well. It is often vague. But by providing a number value of what you aim to reach, it gives you and the grantor an expectation of what will be achieved with the funding received. Grantors want money to impact people. Outlining how many people your project will impact will make this clear. It also helps the grantor know if your project and its outcomes is something worth investing in. Planning out your project before you start writing the application will help you avoid this mistake. Another common mistake in grant applications is the project budget. It is often inflated and/or does not clearly relate to the project itself. It is understood that people or organizations often apply for a grant because they are hoping to cover a cost in their organization. This could mean paying someone's wage or keeping a program running. Money is often an issue, especially in the nonprofit world. This is an unfair reality. However, keeping your budget realistic and aligned to your project is essential for grant acceptance. There can be some wiggle room in your budget to offset organizational costs, but overinflated budgets or budgets that don't clearly relate to the project lessen your chances at grant success. To avoid making this mistake, again, I encourage you to jot down your ideas in the free downloadable template I provide. In this template, I've included a section on budgeting and provided a clear example of how to do this well. Brainstorming your project budget is important and does not often get the attention it deserves. especially since inflated and misaligned budgets are a key factor for why grants are not accepted. As a side note, after brainstorming your project, you may notice that your project idea or the project's budget does not meet the grant application stipulations very well. For example, you may need $20,000 to run the project, but the application is only offering $5,000. Or you recognize that your target audience is the general community, but the grant application is specifically targeting youth. In times like these, you can try to make minor adjustments, but it is not advisable to simply try to make things work. Realizing early if a grant does not fit your project will save a lot of time and disappointment. It might not seem like it, but another grant will come along that will meet your needs better. And in doing so, it will increase your chances of application success. The final common grant writing mistake is not answering the questions well. Sometimes the question on the application is asked, and a grant writer either does not follow the instructions or provides an answer that does not actually answer the question. To ensure that you answer the grant questions accurately, I would suggest slowly reading each question and underlining or highlighting all of the key words. I often print off each application to make sure I complete this step thoroughly. Once I have jotted down my answer to each of the questions, ensuring that I am indeed answering the question, I draft each answer into full sentences. Most grant applications now are electronic and have a maximum word count per question. If I notice that I go over in the word limit, I don't reduce my points. Instead, I eliminate any extra filler words or ideas that I may have included. Often ideas are repeated. Eliminating repetition is important. Funders read a lot of applications, so being detailed yet concise is important. It can be a tricky balance. Grant writing is very formulaic, and once you understand the formula, the chances of success are greater. Aligning your entire project from start to finish, making sure your outcomes and budget are clearly outlined and match the project, and answering the questions well are important steps to this process. Paying closer attention to these will successfully set you on your way. If you wish to learn more about successful grant writing, we do have a grant writing workshop and an 8-module grant writing mastery course available. The grant writing workshop gives you all the essentials you need to know to write a successful grant. Our grant writing mastery course takes participants through the entire grant writing process step by step. And as a special bonus, I also provide a 30-minute one-to-one consultation where I give you feedback on the grant that you have written. By the end of the process, you are guaranteed to have a solid grant application ready for submission. For this workshop, course, and for other additional resources, please visit us at stanadin.com.